everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and today I'm going to be going over my favorite books that I read in winter. I'm going to go over 5 books that were standouts for me, and the first one that I want to talk about is Neat by Candy Steiner. This is the second book in the Becker Brothers series, and this is about Logan. He is a tour guide for the Scooters Whiskey Distillery, and he must train Mallory, and she is the owner's daughter. Both of the families, the Scooters and the Beckers, have been feuding for many years, so when Logan finds out that he must train Mallory, he is not a happy camper. However, as time goes on, they start having feelings for each other. I loved this book so much because it was like a modern day tale of Romeo and Juliet because of how the two families were feuding. And I loved Logan so much. He was so swoon-worthy. He was a reader, he was kind, he was so sweet to Mallory. And I really liked Mallory because she stood up to her family and just, didn't give in to what they were saying because she wanted to be with Logan. So I love that about her character, and I just love them together, and their chemistry just was really cute. And also what I loved about this book was that you got tidbits about the first couple in the first book, which was Noah and Grace. So I loved getting extra details about what was going on in their lives, and this book just has a lot of family dynamics as well, and I love that about this book and the series. So if you're looking for a small town romance set around a whiskey distillery, I would highly recommend checking out this series, and I cannot wait to read the next book in the series, which is Manhattan, so hopefully I can do that real soon. The next book that I want to talk about is Heartbreak Warfare by Heather M. Orgon and Kate Stewart. And this is about Katie. She gets deployed to the Middle East and she has to leave her son and her husband at home. So when she goes over to the Middle East, she at least has her best friend with her. And then one day, Katie and her best friend, they meet these 3 other guys, and they all become instantly really close friends. And the one guy, Briggs, is always flirting with Katie, and he knows that she is married, so he knows it's just an innocent little flirt between each other. But then one day when they go on a mission, their Humvee gets attacked, and Briggs and Katie are the only survivors, and they are captured. They only have each other to survive, to get through this awful event in their life. And finally, when they make it home, Katie is having a really tough time, and the only person that she can turn to is Briggs. So yeah, this is a love triangle between Briggs and her husband. I really like love triangles when they're done really well, and this one was done phenomenal. I feel like if Briggs was not with Katie during that time, I really don't think she would be able to survive what happened to them. And for that, I feel like I was glad that he was there for her, and he is the only person that understands what she went through. So she had to make a very tough decision if she wanted to be with Briggs or with her husband. And I really liked her husband as well because he was also in the military, and he understood what she was going through, but not to the same degree as Briggs. So yeah, so it's just her decision on who she wants to be with. And this book is very heartbreaking, and I sobbed for, oh my gosh, I don't even know how long after I read this book, but it was so good. If you have not read this, it is an excellent military romance with a love triangle. So like I said, if you haven't read this one, definitely recommend picking it up. The next book that I'm going to talk about is The Flight Girls by Noelle Salazar, and this is a World War II historical fiction novel, and this is about Audrey. She loves to fly, and in 1941 she goes to Hawaii to help train other Army pilots, and she is also housing with other female pilots. And then she also has her eye on this lieutenant named James Hart, and while they agree not to date each other, they become really good friends. But in December of 1941, that is when Pearl Harbor is hit, and she's actually in the air when this happens, and it's just a very devastating time in her life. So when she comes back home, she really doesn't want to really fly again. However, she is accepted into the WASP program, which is the Women's Air Force Service Pilots program, and she goes there and she learns to love to fly again, and she's around other women pilots. But as she is there, Lieutenant James Hart is actually in overseas during the war, and then one day she learns that his plane goes down and he is missing in action. So this book was absolutely amazing. I've never read any book about the WASP before, so I was definitely intrigued in knowing everything about it. I love that about historical fiction, where you get to learn other aspects of history that you may not know before. But I love the female bonds in this book. They were absolutely amazing, and I loved Lieutenant James Hart so much. He was absolutely amazing, and I just loved their relationship so much. I know that they didn't want to put a label on their relationship because he was overseas. However, I just loved how refreshing their relationship was. And yeah, this book was just so good. If you're interested in strong female bonds and an adorable romance, I definitely recommend picking this one up. The next book I'm going to talk about is Hotshot Dog by R.S. Gray, and this is about Bailey. Her parents were killed in a tragic car accident, and she is now the legal guardian of her little sister. And it was always her dream to become a surgeon. However, that just wasn't in the cards for her, and she becomes a surgical assistant. She has been a surgical assistant to Dr. Lopez for many years, and he announces that he is going to be retiring, so she must find another surgeon to work for. And however, the only surgeon that is available is this guy, where he has had multiple surgical assistants and he's just a jerk all around. So she ends up taking a shot on this doctor, but Dr. Russell is very arrogant and he's very intense. He is a pediatric spinal surgeon and he loves his job very much. So when him and Bailey have to work together, they really don't get along at all. But then as time goes on, they start really getting into the groove of working together and they start having feelings for each other. So I really love this book. It definitely reminded me of Grey's Anatomy, and I love Grey's Anatomy. I've never read a medical romance book before. However, I will definitely be reading way more because I loved it so much. I loved the banter between Dr. Russell and Bailey. That was really good, and I really thought their chemistry was amazing as well. This was definitely a slow burn. So if you are looking for a slow burn, enemies to lovers, medical romance, this is definitely the book you should check out. And the last book that I want to talk about is The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer. This is another World War II historical fiction, and this is about Alice. She is a mother of two, and her son is autistic, and the only way that she can communicate with him is through this app on their tablet. And then one day she finds out that her grandmother has had a stroke, and now the only way that she can communicate is also through this app. And it's very difficult for Alice's grandmother to communicate even through this app because she is from Poland, and all she wants to do is have her go back to Poland, but she really has no idea why she wants her to go back there. So Alice must decide if she's going to go back to Poland to grant her grandmother's wish. And then, so this is like a dual timeline, and then in 1938, you're following Elena, and she is engaged to Thomas, and Thomas is away at medical school, and while he is away at medical school, the Nazis have invaded their Polish town. When Thomas comes back to Elena, she finds out that he is actually helping Jewish families and is pretty much in hiding as well. So then they get separated again because she is trying to get out of Poland and there's no way that he can go with them because of him having a background with hiding other Jewish families. So she leaves without him again, hoping to flee Poland. So I really love this book because, like I said, it was a dual timeline. I love dual timelines in historical fiction novels. I really loved the grandmother so much. Any book that has grandmas in it, I just have a soft spot for. And I really liked how this book had a couple mystery elements to it. I thought that was a good touch, and it definitely kept me guessing till the end, so I really liked that. And I really loved how both of the timelines were very interesting. There's a lot of times where I'm more interested in one timeline than the other. However, this one I was definitely interested in both of them. I felt like the present day had a lot going on, so I felt like it was very fascinating to read about. And I just love reading about historical fiction in World War II, so I love that. This book left me sobbing at the end, and if you love historical fiction set during World War II, I highly recommend picking this one up. So those are 5 of my favorite books that I read in winter. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these books, and if you have, let me know what you thought about them. And until then, I will see you in my next video. Bye!